Uish, gelap je. Kenapa macam tak nampak je ni? Internet tak kuat kot. Kenapa skrin jadi gelap ni? Gelap. You guys boleh dengar ke so far? Boleh? Sekejap saya try remove, masuk balik. Hello. Boleh tengok ada tak? Saya tak ada juga je. Test mic dulu. So far dengar ke? Boleh dengar? So far boleh dengar ke? Alamak, macam lain tak okey lah hari ni. Dengar tapi nampak ke? Boleh nampak ke skrin saya? Kenapa yang saya nampak dekat ni macam gelap je? Sekejap. Lah, macam gelap. Bukan macam, memang gelap. Nampak saya je kan. Tak nampak skrin. Ayo. Saya tukar. Tahu. Itulah. Lagi sekali. Kalau tak nampak juga, saya adjust pergi wifi. Okay, confirm. So, mau kita cari wifi. Hari ni tak tahu lah. Internet macam tak berapa stabil sikit. Okay, mari kita tengok dah okay ke belum. Sial awak. Sekejap Sabar semua orang. Kenapa still tak nampak ni? Kalau tak dapat juga, sekejap lagi saya tukar pergi Google Meet je lah. Kalau tak nampak juga. Sekejap give me 1 minute untuk saya settle ni sekejap. Oh, untuk yang baru masuk. Dia memang gelap tau. Sekejap Okay, nampak dah. Sabar je lah. Okay, last kena pakai wifi saya juga. Okay, so now test mic, test screen. Sekejap, Min nak conteng dulu. Ting 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 ting. Okay kot. Right, so semua okay? Is everyone okay? Okay, nampak dah. Secerah masa depan kita Sabar je lah. Okay, so now, by the way, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Okay, so today we are going to start with a new chapter, chapter 2. So last week we have already finished chapter 1, where we learn about the rules of surd and then the law of logarithm. So today we are going to proceed that with chapter 2, equations, inequalities and absolute values. So I will spend around 4 hours of lecture for this chapter. So today we have class on Tuesday, right? So today, Tuesday and then Wednesday we are going to finish lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3. And then next week on Sunday, we are going to finish chapter 2. And then we are going to start with chapter 3. Okay, so now chapter 2, lecture 1 out of 4. So altogether, we're going to spend 4 hours. So today we are just going to look at the equations. Okay, so basically in chapter 2, there are 3 subtopics. You have equations, you have inequalities, you have absolute value. So for equation, you got to solve equation involving the indices, surd and logarithm, the one that we learned in the first chapter, where we learned about the rules of indices, the rules of surd, and then the law of logarithm. So now we are going to use that rules and that law to solve the equation. Okay, and then we are going to proceed with inequalities. Okay, so basically what are the differences between them? Equation, you must have the equal sign. So that means you have one equation on the right, one equation on the left, and then you have this equal sign right in the middle. So that is why we're going to call them as equation. Inequalities, that mean the symbol should be either greater than or equal, or less than equal. So those are known as the inequalities. So you might have something like x greater than x minus 3 and so on, something like this. So these are inequalities. And then after we learn about inequalities, we are going to learn about absolute value. So absolute value, you will have two kind of absolute value, either absolute value equation or absolute value inequalities. So either absolute value of x equal to something, so absolute value of x greater than or less than something. So that is absolute value. Okay, so now let us focus on 2.1 equation, on solving equation. Okay, equation, the learning outcome basically for today, we are going to solve the equation involving the indices, surd, as well as logarithm. So basically last week, we learned about the rules of indices, the rules of surd, and then the law of logarithm. So now we are going to apply that in here, and then we are going to solve to find out the value of x. Okay, so now let me do indices first, and then surd, and then log. Okay, so what are equation? An equation is a mathematical statement that state two algebraic expressions are equal. Okay, so for example, this is indices. So where is the x? X is at the power, so that is why we're going to call them as indices. So this is indices. A surd. Surd, of course, you're going to have the square root. We don't have any cube root, not in our syllabus. So surd, sebab tu saya kata hari tu surd tu lebih kurang macam square root lah kalau untuk kita, untuk tahap kita. Sebab dia, kita tak belajar tentang cube root. Tak ada dalam syllabus kita. So semua berkaitan dengan square root. Okay, so surd. You might have one surd, two surd, or you might need to solve three surd. So all those kind of surd. And then log. So this is the third one that we're going to solve today. So log equation. Of course, you can see this equal sign. Oh, I forgot the equal sign over here. Okay, never mind. right? So you might have something with the same base, ln and ln over here, or something with different base. So this one is log to the base of 3, this is log to the base of x. So same base or different base. Okay, so now let us see what are the methods to solve the indices. Index equation or indices. How are we going to solve the indices? Okay, so you might have either one of these three cases. The first cases is when you have the same base on the left and right hand side of the equation. Okay, so you might have something like am equal to an. So you do have the same base over here where both of them are actually a. So if you have the same base, what you need to do is that you should compare the base and the index of the term on the left hand side and right hand side. So LHS stand for the left hand side, RHS stand for the right hand side. So we are going to compare the base and the index. And as you can see, if we have the same base, that means the index must be equal as well. So this is m equal to n. Okay, the second case, we might have something with a different base. So for example, a to the power of m equal to b to the power of n. So we got two different base over here. So what do we need to do is that we need to take the log of both sides of the equation. So you're going to apply log on both sides. Okay, so for example, log a to the power of m equal to log b to the power of n. And then what happened is that you are going to use the power rule. So m log A is equal to n log B. And then depending whether do you want to calculate the value of m or do you want to calculate the value of n, bring everything either to the left or right hand side. So those are the idea, the main idea. If you have different base, you must take the log of both sides of the equation. If you have the same base, then you can easily compare the base and index. Okay, so now, if you notice, there is one thing over here. Tukar colour. Okay. If you notice, this one, you only have one term on the left, one term on the right. The same thing goes over here. One term on the left, one term on the right. What happens if we cannot simplify the term into single base on the left and single base on the right? Therefore, you must use substitution. Okay, substitution normally used when we want to change it into a quadratic form, and then we're gonna try to solve them. So if you cannot simplify them into a single base on the left and a single base on the right, therefore you might need to try to use substitution. Okay, so I think if we see the question, it will be much more easier for us to see why. Why do we use this and that? Okay, next. Solve the equation A, 7 to the power of x plus 1 equal to 12. Okay, so firstly, what do you need to know first is that you need to check, can you change everything into the same base or different base? 12 can be separated into 3 and 4, but I couldn't get any 7. Therefore, this is with different base. If you have a different base, what do you need to do is that you have to apply log on both sides. So applying log on both sides, so you will have log 7 to the power of x plus 1 equal to log of 12. So we are taking the log of both sides of the equation. So apply log on both sides. And then what happened is that this one over here is a power. So you're going to bring them down. So we are going to get x plus 1 log 7 equal to log 12. And then we want to find out what is the value of x. So that means we are going to bring log 7 to the right hand side. So I'm going to divide everything with log 7. So x plus 1 is equal to log 12 over log 7. So now you can use your calculator. Log 12, what is the value of them? And then you divide them with log 7. And then you can easily calculate the value of x. Okay, so in order to calculate the value of x, x will be equal to log of 12 over log of 7, and then you minus them with 1. So that is how you end up with 0.277. Okay, so do check first. Can you have a similar base or not? Kalau ada base yang sama, kita solve guna base yang sama. Kalau base tak sama, kita solve guna cara base yang tak sama. Okay, done. Oh, by the way, if I'm going too fast, please let me know, okay? Right, so now 27 to the power of x plus 1 equal to 9 to the power of x minus 1. Okay, so now let us think a little bit. Can I change everything into a single base or I couldn't? So kena fikir sikit lah. What about 27? Actually 27 can be changed to become 3 to the power of 3. Meanwhile, 9 is actually 3 squared. So I can actually change everything into a single base. So you got to check first. Mesti kena check dulu lah boleh tukar base yang sama ke tidak. Okay, so now we can easily change them into the same base. So we are going to rewrite them using the same base. Okay, so 27 is 3 cubed to the power of x plus 1. 9 is 3 squared to the power of x minus 1. And then we are going to use the rules of indices. So basically, if we have 3 cubed and then to the power of x plus 1. So what happened is that we are going to times the power. Same thing over here, we are going to do 2 times with x minus 1. Okay, so simplify the power. You are going to get 3 to the power of 3x plus 3 equal to 3 to the power of 2x minus 2. Okay, what should we do next? Basically, both of them are in similar base. So 3 over here, 3 over here. So now you can easily compare your index. So 3x plus 3 need to be equal to 2x minus 2. So they must be equal. So compare the base and the index. We already have the same base. Then we can easily say that the index must be the same as well. So 3x plus 3 must be equal to 2x minus 2. And then of course, you should solve for x. Bring 2x to the left hand side. Bring positive 3 to the right hand side. So you are going to get x equal to negative 5. Okay, so those are the cases when we have a different base and then the same base. So A for different base, B for the same base. So every time you see this kind of indices question, you must check first, do you have the same base or not? Okay, next. Solve the equation 5 to the power of 2x plus 1 equal to 6 multiply with 5 to the power of x and then minus with 1. Okay, so basically, this one, I cannot use the first two method. Why is that? Basically, on the right hand side, I cannot simplify them into a single term with the same base. Macam mana nak cakap? Dia tak boleh nak simplify because we do have this plus or minus. We do have this minus 1 over here, right? So you cannot combine your index. So since you cannot combine your index, for this one, this is the method where we have to use substitution. Okay, so how do we use substitution? Okay. We are going to use the rules of indices to separate the power over here. So over here we got 2x plus 1. So I'm going to use the rules of indices to separate the power. So 2x plus 1, that means this is 5 to the power of 2x multiplied with 5 to the power of 1 equal to 6 multiplied with 5 to the power of x minus 1. And then now I'm going to use substitution. Okay, so basically if u is equal to 5 to the power of x, then that means if I square both of them, then that means u square is simply 5 to the power of 2x. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite this in terms of u. So this one will simply become 5. So 5u square equal to 6u minus with 1. So now we are going to change everything in terms of u. Okay, so this is a simple quadratic. Bring everything to the left before we factorize them. Okay, so now I have 5u square minus 6u plus 1 equal to 0. So now we got to factorize. Okay, so in order to factorize, there are two methods actually that you can use in order to factorize. You can use the cross method, or another one is that you can use the quadratic formula. Cross method ni kalau ikutkan kalau korang guna calculator lah kot. Tapi dia biasanya kalau kata nombor saja senang, tapi kalau dia ada huruf nanti payah sikit lah kalau kita nak guna calculator. So this is the cross method. Quadratic formula is negative b plus minus square root b square minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, so basically, if you didn't know how to use the cross method, or if you think that you might get stuck if you use your calculator, then it will be easier if you use the quadratic formula straight away. So dia ada dua cara lah untuk kita factorize. Nak guna cross method boleh, nak guna quadratic formula pun boleh. But this is just a simple number, right? So I'm going to use the cross method for them. Okay, so 5u square minus 6u plus 1, I'm going to factorize them. So it will become 5u minus 1, u minus 1 equal to 0. And then of course, we are going to take each factor, we are going to let them equal to 0. And then we're going to solve to find out the value of u. Okay, so u is equal to 1 over 5, or u is basically equal to 1. Okay, so if you do remember, if you go back to the question is actually in terms of x, right? Not in terms of u. We are the one who use u for our substitution. Therefore, you have to revert back, go back. What is u? U is actually 5 to the power of x. So replace them again with 5 to the power of x. So we got 5 to the power of x equal to 1 over 5. 5 to the power of x equal to 1. Okay, so if you do notice, this one over here, this is actually an index. If you want to solve them, you should check first. Are they in the same base or do they in different base? Dia dalam base yang sama ke base yang berbeza? If you can use a similar base, then you can compare the index. If they are in different base, you might want to use a log in order to solve for x. Okay, so now I can see that they are in the same base actually. I can actually do them in the same base. So I'm going to rewrite 1 over 5 as 5 to the power of negative 1. Meanwhile, this one over here is actually 5 to the power of 0. So this one is 5 to the power of negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite them using the same base. So I have 5 to the power of x equal to 5 to the power of negative 1. 5 to the power of x is equal to 5 to the power of 0. And then since we have the same base, we can easily compare the index. So you can see that x will be equal to negative 1 or x will be equal to 0. So far, okay? Okay. Right, next. Tak apalah, saya go slow sikit Kalau laju sangat nanti beritahu. Okay, so now we got e to the power of 2x minus 3 to the 3 multiply with e to the power of x and then plus with 2 equal to 0. So basically, of course, we cannot change everything into the same base, and we cannot change everything into a single base. So that means this one we have to use substitution. Okay, so in order to use substitution, we have to choose our u very, very carefully. So normally, if you want to choose your u, choose something that with x. And when you double it, when you times them by 2, you should get the other one. So biasanya kita guna trick tu lah untuk tahu u kita apa. Okay, so now we are going to use substitution. So let u equal to e to the power of x. That means u square will be equal to e to the power of 2x. So now you are going to rewrite everything in terms of u. So you have u square minus with 3u plus 2 equal to 0. Okay, so everything is already in terms of u. Now you can factorize. Okay, so in order to factorize, again, there are two methods. You can either use the cross method, either cross method, or you can use quadratic formula. Okay, so this is quite simple, so I just use the cross method. So this is u minus 2, u minus 1 equal to 0. And then that means u is either equal to 2 or u is equal to 1. Okay, so if you go back to the question is actually in terms of x. My answer right now is in terms of u. Therefore, I should substitute back what is u. Okay, so u is actually e to the power of x. So over here, we have e to the power of x equal to 2, and then e to the power of x equal to 1. Okay, so now, this is actually a simple indices. Therefore, you can check whether can you change everything into the same base, or can you change the right hand side. Boleh tukar ke tak lah. Kalau boleh tukar, maksudnya okay. Kalau tak boleh, maksudnya different base lah. Okay, so check first. Basically 2 I cannot change in terms of e. I cannot write down e to the power of anything to get 2. But I can change 1 to become e to the power of 0. So kalau ikut yang ni, dia ada mix sikit lah. So tak apalah, saya anggap je saya tak boleh tukar dua-dua. So I'm gonna use the case for different base. Okay, so they have different base. Therefore, I'm gonna apply log on both sides. But since this base over here is e, I'm gonna use a ln, natural logarithm for both of them. So ln e to the power of x is equal to ln 2, ln ex is equal to ln 1. And then we are going to use the law of log, where if we have a power behind here, we can actually bring them down. This one over here, I can actually bring them down. And then another one is that since you have ln of e is actually equal to 1. So what are you going to get is x equal to ln 2 and x equal to 0. Why 0? This is the 0 law. So ln of 1 is actually equal to 0. Log 1 is also equal to 0. So x is equal to ln 2 or x equal to 0. Okay, next. Rasa macam dah siap kot untuk indices. Set now. Are you guys doing okay? Apa itu ln? Ln log to the power of e. Log to the base of e, log to the power. Sorry lah, hari ni tersasul banyak ah. Ln is actually log to the base of e. Okay. Ada lagi? Siapa-siapa nak tanya lagi? Cepat. Okay, if there's nothing, so let me proceed with first set. You can ask more during our tutorial. Yang equation panjang tu tak faham. Fight yang mana satu, Fight? Equation yang panjang. Equation yang panjang siapa? Equation yang panjang. Yang ni ke? Example 2, example 1. Example 2, A, B. Example 1, A, B. B. Okay. Example 2B. Okay, so this one over here is e to the power of 2x minus 3 e to the power of x plus 2 equal to 0. Okay, so now if you look at, this is indices, right? Because we have x in our power. Okay, so one of them is e to the power of 2x. Another one is e to the power of x. Therefore, we are going to use substitution, where we are going to let u equal to e to the power of x. So if you square this one, square both sides, you are going to get u square equal to e to the power of 2x. Okay, so change everything in terms of u. This one is u square minus 3u plus 2 equal to 0. So change everything in terms of u. So you got u square minus 3u plus 2 equal to 0. And then factorize them completely. You are going to get u minus 2, u minus 1 equal to 0. So either u equal to 2 or you might get u equal to 1. Okay, so the question is actually in terms of x. So you have to revert back to x. So this is e to the power of x equal to 2, e to the power of x equal to 1. Okay, so kita akan tengok lah base dia sama tak sama. Okay, kalau kat sini base dia tak sama. So if we don't have the same base, therefore we are going to apply log on both sides. But this one, the base for them is e, so I better choose ln, natural logarithm. So this is ln e to the power of x equal to ln of 2. So bring the power down, so x is equal to ln 2. So yang ini boleh permudahkan Aisyah Sasabila. Kalau nak guna calculator boleh permudahkan lah. Ln 2 you can actually use your calculator. So ln 2, the answer is 0, 6, 9, 3. So you can easily change them into number. E to the power of x equal to 1. So now, yang ini kita tengok lah, kalau macam tadi saya kata kita boleh tukar dia kepada base yang sama actually. 1 is actually e to the power of 0. So ex is equal to e to the power of 0. So now I have the same base over here, then I can easily write down x equal to 0. E bukan unknown, bukan. E adalah Euler number. Euler's number. The value for this is 2.718, 281828. 71. Terbalik pula dah. 2.71828 dot dot dot. E bukan unknown tau. E adalah Euler number. Madam, kalau log kuasa lain dari 10, macam mana nak solve? Log kuasa lain dari 10. Base kot maksud awak. Sebab log tak boleh ada kuasa. Macam pelik pula log kuasa 10. Base kot maksud awak kan? Macam mana nak solve? Okay, kalau awak guna calculator yang macam saya ni, saya boleh tukar base dia. So that mean I do have something like this, log and then box. If you don't have them, for example, if let's say log 3, 5, right? This one you must use the change of base. So you need to use log 5 over log 3. Kenalah kalau kata calculator warna hitam tu kita mesti kena adjust sikit. Guna yang ni boleh patah balik pergi lecture 3, chapter 1. I already teach you how to use the change of base for this one. So it's fine, you can go back and look at them. Okay, now next. Let me proceed with set equation. Okay, so now for indices, we can either have similar base, different base, or we might want to take substitution, right? For set question, what do you need to do is that you need to identify how many set do you have in that question. Do you have 1 set, 2 set, or 3 set? So that is the most important thing whenever you look at the set equation. If you have 1 set, what do you need to do is that you need to put the set on the left hand side and everything else go to the right hand side. So that is the first strategy when we have 1 set. So look at your question. Only this set will be left on the left. Everything else will go to the right hand side. That's the first one. If you have 2 sets, what are you going to do is that you're going to move one of them to the other side. So we might have something like set equal to set. So equal that. Di sebelah kiri ada satu, kanan ada satu. So sama lah, setara nanti kan. Okay, so one on the left, one on the right hand side. If you have 3 sets, make sure one of them is on one side. So make sure one of them is on the left. The other 2 will be on the right hand side or vice versa, of course. Kalau rasa macam selesa tukar pergi kiri, tukarlah pergi kiri. Okay, so that is the first main idea. If you have 1 set, only the set will be left on the left hand side. Everything else will go to the right hand side. If you have 2 sets, 1 set will be left on the left, another set will be right on the right hand side. If you have 3 sets, one of them will be on the left, the other 2 will be on the right hand side. Okay, so that is the first main idea. What do you need to do next after you separate all those sets? What you need to do is that the first one, you have to square both sides of the equation. And if let's say you still end up with some set, then you should isolate them. Isolate, that means you're going to leave them on the left hand side. Isolate the set. Everything else will go to the right hand side. Those without the set will go on the right hand side. If you still have any set, stay on the left. And then again, in order to get rid of this square, we have to square the equation again. In order to get rid of the square root, you have to square the equation again. And then you're going to try to solve the resulting equation. Last but not least, for a set, you must always check your answer. When you are doing some question involving the set as well as the log, it will be nicer and it will be very good for you to check your final answer, because sometimes we might have an extra answer. So answer yang tak boleh terima lah sebenarnya sebab kita square kan. So dia ada nombor yang negatif nanti. Okay, now let us try to do some question and then we are going to come back to this step to see whether do we understand or not. Okay, next. Right, so solve the equation. Okay, so set 2x minus 1 minus 5 equal to 0. Okay, so check first how many set do you see? Okay, so basically I only see 1 set where I have square root of 2x minus 1. This one is without the set, so this is the case when I only have 1 set. So what do we need to do if we have only one surd? Only the surd will stay on the right hand side. Everything else will need to go to the right. So I'm going to leave the surd on the left hand side. Everything else will go to the right. Okay, so what will happen to them is that this is going to be square root of 2x minus 1 equal to 5. Okay, so I already left the set on the left hand side. So what are the steps to solve them? Okay, so in order to get rid of that square root, you have to square both sides. So everything on the left hand side will be inside one bracket and then you square. Everything on the right hand side inside one bracket and then you square. Pastikan buat step tu, masukkan semua dalam bracket baru letak square. Masuk semua dalam bracket baru letak square. That is the main idea. Everything on the left, square. Everything on the right, square. And then what happened next is that this is a square root, this is a square, so they do undo each other. So we are left with 2x minus 1 equal to 25. And then you're going to solve to calculate the value of x. So bring negative 1 to the right hand side. So adding 1 on both sides. So we got 2x equal to 26, making x as the subject. So we have x equal to 13. Okay, so that is basically what happened if you have only one surd. So do make sure leave the surd on the left hand side and then everything else will go to the right hand side. Everything on the left will be square. Everything on the right will be square as well. And then we are going to solve to find out x. Okay, next. Right, so now we got square root of x plus square root of x plus 2 equal to 2. Okay, so the first idea is that you should check first how many surd do you have. Okay, so I have square root of x, so 1 surd, and then square root of x plus 2. So that means these are 2 surd. Okay, so 2 surd. What do we need to do? We should move one of them to the other side. So either one, bring it to the right hand side. So you are going to get something like square root of x equal to 2 minus square root of x plus 2. Okay, so if you refer to the step, I already separate them, one on the left, one on the right hand side. The next step is I have to square both sides. So in order to square, you must put everything on the left inside one bracket and then square. Everything on the right inside one bracket and then you square. So this is the most crucial thing, put everything inside one bracket. Okay, so now square root, square. Those two will cancel out. So we are left with simply x. But on the right hand side, of course, you should try to expand them. Oh, I miss out this one. Okay, so this is 2 minus the square root of x plus 2 square. So you might want to write them down twice and then expand them one by one. Okay, so normally for me, I prefer to use the formula for a minus b square. So a minus b square is a square minus 2ab plus b square. So normally I do expand them using this formula. So the value of a is 2. The value of those set is b. So I'm going to use this formula to expand them. So what am I going to get is 2 square, which is 4, minus 2 times with 2. So minus 4 square root of x plus 2 plus square root of x plus 2 with a square. So it will become x plus 2. Okay, so now I already square both sides. What do you see now is that you are still left with another set. So if we still have set after we square, what do we need to do is that we need to isolate the remaining set. So yang ni yang kita nampak tu dia ada isolate tu kan. So isolate the remaining surd. So let the surd be on the left hand side. Everything else will go to the right hand side. And then we are going to do square both side again. One more time. Square both side. Okay, so I'm going to leave the surd on the left. So I have 4 square root of x plus 2 equal to x plus 6 minus x. And then of course we're going to try to simplify them first before we square, because I have x minus x, so those two will cancel out. So I'm going to left with 6. Okay, so isolate the remaining set. What do you have next is 4 square root of x plus 2 equal to 6. Okay, so make sure to square both sides. So put everything on the left inside one bracket and then you square. Everything on the right hand side inside one bracket and then you square. Okay, so now we got 4 squared. So that is equal to 16. And then square root of x plus 2 square. So it will simply become x plus 2. 6 square is simply equal to 36. Okay, so we got 16. X plus 2 equal to 36. And now you can solve to find out x. Okay, so 16x plus 32 equal to 36. So 16x is equal to 1 over 4. 16x is equal to 4. So x will be 1 over 4. Or from here, you can actually divide everything by 16 and then you minus by 2. That is also work. It was just fine. Okay. Settle? 2 set. Okay, so far I didn't see any questions, so that will be okay. Third one, the last one. Okay, so we got square root 3x plus 1 minus square root 2x minus 1 equal to square root x plus 2. So again, we're going to see how many surd do we have. 1 surd, 2 surd, 3 surd. So altogether, we actually have 3 surds. If you have 3 surd, what do you need to do? You got to make sure you bring one of the surd to either left hand side or right hand side. So kita kena asingkan 2 surd dengan 1 surd. Sama ada dua-dua nak duduk kiri boleh atau dua-dua duduk kanan pun boleh. Suka hatilah, mana-mana pun tak apa. Okay, so this one, 3 surd. So make sure one of them is on one side. So I already make sure that square root of x plus 2 is alone on the right hand side. So that is okay. So now we got to square both sides. So everything on the left hand side inside one bracket and then you square. Everything on the right hand side inside one bracket and then you square. Okay, next. Alright, so now I should square the left hand side. So this is something like a minus b square again. So a minus b square. So this is a square minus 2ab plus b square. Okay, so this whole thing, I'm going to call them as A. This whole thing, I'm going to call them as B. So now I'm going to use A square minus 2ab plus b square. Okay, so square root of 3x plus 1. If I square them, then I'm going to get rid of the square root. So it will simply become 3x plus 1. Minus 2 multiply with square root of 3x plus 1, square root of 2x minus 1. So I'm going to combine them together into one big set. So this is the square root of 3x plus 1 multiply with 2x minus 1. So this is a square minus 2ab plus b square. Okay, so this is b square. Square root of 2x minus 1 with a square. So it will become 2x minus 1. Okay, so I still have something with a surd. So what do you need to do now is that you have to isolate the surd again. So isolate the surd, only the surd will stay on the left hand side, everything else will go to the right hand side. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this term over here on the left. So this term stay on the left, everything else will go to the right hand side. So what I will have is negative 2 square root 3x plus 1 multiply with 2x minus 1. So this is x minus 2x minus 3x. So it become negative 4x. 2 plus 1 minus 1. So it will become positive 2. Okay, so now I only have one surd on the left hand side. So I can actually simplify them. No. I can actually square them straight away. But I prefer to simplify them first. Kenapa? Sebab saya nampak nombor ni macam boleh kecilkan. Sebab dia boleh bahagi dengan sebelah kanan. So saya simplify dululah. Lepas tu saya square both side. If you want to do square both side at this moment, you can. It doesn't really matter. But you might get something much more bigger number. So normally I don't like having bigger number. If I can simplify them, I prefer to simplify. Okay, let me divide by negative 2 first. So I will have something like square root of 3x plus 2 multiply with 2x minus 1 equal to 2x minus 1. Okay, so this negative 4x over here, if you divide with negative 2, it will become 2x. Positive 2, you divide with negative 2, that is how you end up with negative 1. Okay, so now we got one surd on the left hand side. Therefore, you should square both sides. Okay, so squaring both sides again. So square root with a square, those two will cancel out. And then on the right hand side, we have 2x minus 1 square. Of course, you should expand them later on. Okay, so expanding 3x plus 1 multiply with 2x minus 1. So 3x times 2x, 6x square, negative 3x, positive 2x. So that is how you end up with negative x. Positive 1, negative 1, it will become negative 1. And then 2x square, it will become 4x square. Negative 2 times a times b, so it will become negative 4x. And then negative 1 square, it will become positive 1. Set battery dulu. Nak kena charge. Okay, so now bring everything to the left hand side. That is just a simple quadratic. So you can factorize them straight away. So boleh guna calculator boleh. Nak guna cross method pun boleh. So it will become 2x minus 1, x plus 2 equal to 0. So you will have two value of x. X equal to half or x equal to negative 2. Okay. But if you have any value of x, normally for surd, I didn't check for the first two, but for the last one, sebab first two tu baru nak ajar cara nak solve je kan. But basically for every surd, once you have the value of x, you should go back to the question and try to substitute. Avoid having surd with negative inside. So do try to substitute the value of x. If you see something with a negative number inside of the surd, you should reject your answer straight away. So for this one, if I substitute with x equal to negative 2, I'm going to get surd of a negative number. So what will happen is that I'm going to reject x equal to negative 2. because x cannot be equal to -2. It will give me some negative number. Therefore, I only have one answer for this one, where the x will be equal to half. So basically, actually for the A and the B part, we should check our answer as well. Kat situ pun sepatutnya dah check, tapi sebab saya rasa masa tu baru nak belajar, so saya tak tulis lagi lah checking part ni. But normally for everything, you should check your final answer, especially for a surd and log. Surd and log. Every time you are doing something involving the surd, the log, you should check your answer. Okay, next. Last one, logarithmic equation. So I only have another 2 example and then we can do our tutorial. Okay, so in order to solve the log, you must make sure that the log term must be of the same base. So you must check first, can you change everything into the same base or not? If you have a question with a different base, what you need to do is that you have to use the change of base. So do you remember the formula? Log AM is equal to log BM over log BA. So kiranya X kena sentiasa positif lah. X tu sendiri tak semestinya sentiasa positif tau Hakim. X tu boleh negatif. Tapi bila dia masuk dalam surd, nilai ni mesti kena nilai yang positif sahaja. Baru dia betul. Dia tak boleh bila kita ganti, kita dapat negatif. Yang ni dia akan jadi salah. Sebab dia tak ada, kita tak boleh define. So contohnya, katakanlah square root of 2 minus x kan. Katakanlah awak ganti x equal to 3. You are going to end up with 2 minus 3 which is negative 1, right? So answer ni kita akan reject. But what if x equal to negative 2? Yang ni akan jadi square root of 2 plus 2 which is 4. So yang ni okay. Tak ada banyak masalah. So tak semestinya nilai x tu sentiasa positif. Tetapi apabila kita ganti dalam surd, nilai dalam surd mesti positif. Bolehkah Hakim? Tak apalah. Let me know later kalau kata tak okay lagi. Okay, solving log. Check first. Check the base first. Every time you see the log, check the base. Do you have the same base or do you have different base? If you have the same base, that will be quite okay. We just need to collect all the log to one side and all the numbers to the right hand side. If you have different base, you might need to use something called the change of base. So this is basically the formula, just in case you forgot. That is the formula. Okay, next. Find the value of x for the equation log 3x minus 4 log x 4 log x3 plus 3 equal to 0. Okay, log 3x minus 4 log x3 plus 3 equal to 0. So check the base first. This is log to the base of 3. This is log to the base of x. So this is actually different base. If we have a different base, what do we need to do? We need to use change of base. So change them into the same base. But normally, if you have x as the base, it doesn't look very nice and very neat. It will be easier if we have a number as our base. So kalau compare antara dua ni, biasanya saya akan pilih untuk tukar kepada base 3. Okay, so I'm going to change the base x to base 3. So this is log 3x minus 4 log 3 over log 3x plus 3 equal to 0. And then log 3, this one, if you use the law of log, this is actually equal to 1. So we can easily write them down as log 3x minus 4 over log 3x plus 3 equal to 0. So now we are going to solve to find out the value of x. We already have the same base over here. Okay, so now we actually have one more problem. So just now you already used the change of base, right? So you change everything into the same base. So they are in different base, but we got one more problem over here. This one is actually in numerator, that means at the top. But this one over here is actually in the denominator at the bottom. So one on top, one at the bottom. Therefore, for this kind of cases, you might need to use substitution. Okay, so use substitution. Let u equal to log 3x. So change this one to become log 3x. To become u. Log 3x, change it to u. U ke Y ke tak kisahlah, pakai je lah apa-apa pun. Okay, so Y minus 4 over Y plus 3 equal to 0. I'm going to have the same denominator. I'm going to times everything by Y. So it will become Y squared plus 3Y minus 4 equal to 0. And then this is just a simple quadratic, right? So we are going to factorize them completely. So it will become Y plus 4, Y minus 1 equal to 0. So either Y equal to negative 4 or Y will be equal to 1. Okay. Multiply here, we multiply over there as well. Okay, so now that is the answer for Y. Y is equal to negative 4 or Y is equal to 1. But the question is actually in terms of X. We are the one who changed it into Y. Therefore, you should revert back to X. So revert back. Log 3x is equal to negative 4. Log 3x is equal to 1. So change from log to index. So basically, if we have log m equal to n, what does it mean? Is that m is equal to a to the power of n. Okay, so this one over here, x will be equal to 3 to the power of negative 4. This one over here, x is equal to 3 to the power of 1. So x is 3 to the power of negative 4 or x is equal to 3 to the power of 1. And then of course you can use your calculator to see what is the value of 3 to the power of negative 4. So that is actually 1 over 81. And then 3 to the power of 1, if you want to use calculator, up to you. But 3 to the power of 1 is actually equal to 3. Okay, so now we end up with 2 answer. Again, always go back and check. Normally yang ini dia takkan ada masalah kecuali X dia tiba-tiba dapat negatif je. Sebab ini soalan log kan. Okay, next. Find the value of X for the equation 3 ln 2X minus 4 equal to 2 ln 2X. Okay, check first. Do you have the same base or do you have different base? If you have different base, you must use change of base. So this one is ln. So ln is log to the base of e. This is another ln log to the base of e. So they are actually in the same base. So since we have them in the same base, I'm going to collect all the log, bring it to the left. Those without the log, bring it to the right hand side. Okay, so I will have 3 ln 2x minus 2 ln 2x is equal to 4. So imagine like we are having 3a minus 2a. So this is simply equal to a. So I got ln 2x equal to 4. Okay, so now we got to solve to calculate the value of x. So if you go back to the previous one, I wrote down for you log am equal to n. Therefore, m is equal to a to the power of n. So now we have ln 2x equal to 4. So that means 2x. So the base for the ln over here is e. So this is e to the power of 4. So 2x is e to the power of 4. And then in order to calculate the value of x, you're going to divide everything by 2. So x is equal to e to the power of 4 over 2 or 27.299. So this is the case for the same base. You just need to collect all the ln to the left hand side, all the log to the left hand side, and then you're going to simplify them using the rules of the law of log. If you have plus and minus, use the law of log. Kalau ada fraction, mesti kena guna substitution. Log tak boleh duduk kat bawah. Kalau dia duduk kat bawah tu payah kita nak solve. So sebab tu kita guna substitution. Okay, let me remind you again. If you have something like ln A plus minus ln B, yang ni kita boleh tarik dia pergi kiri. Either dia akan jadi ln AB or it might become ln A over B. But if you see something like ln A plus 1 over ln B, ni bahagian denominator kan? So yang ni terus guna substitution. So if you see a ln at the top and one ln at the bottom, therefore you must use substitution. Okay, so that's it for today. So sorry lambat sikit start sebab ada masalah teknikal sikit. So kita take 5 sekejap, sementara tu boleh isi attendance untuk siapa yang belum isi lagi. So isi attendance dulu. Lepas tu take 5, lepas kita take 5 kita akan start dengan tutorial lah. So kejap lagi saya bagi link tu Google Meet saya lah. Okay, so that's all. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.